One new type of information that we see a lot of growth in is 3D information. This 3D information is really fantastic because it gives you a real natural view of the world. It's a great tool for folks like planners who are looking at alternative scenarios in an area and they want to see how that impacts an area. Well, at 10.2, we've taken the creation and visualization capabilities of City Engine and integrated them with ArcGIS Desktop. So now the process is much more straightforward than ever before. You can even take those 3D models and save them out as web scenes and use them directly in a web browser without a plugin needed. Real-time information is also exploding recently. This is a great way to see what's happening as it's happening. So this information comes from things like, could be fixed sensors. They're monitoring things like traffic or air quality or air temperature, maybe even a stream gauge measuring stream flow. It could be mobile sensors tracking a field crew or maybe first responders or emergency vehicles responding to an event. And more we're seeing social media as a huge source of real-time information. So new at 10.2 is the GeoEvent Processor. The GeoEvent Processor is an extension to ArcGIS for Server. And what it does is it watches these live feeds and it looks for certain scenarios that you set up in the software. As things happen and these conditions are met, you can fire off emails, text messages, you can even do things like set up geofences. So we want to look at how a city might make use of this tool. So I'm from down in the San Diego area. We've got a lot of fun events that happen in the downtown area, just like in most cities. But it can be really challenging with these events to keep track of everything that's happening just to keep people safe. So a city might use the GeoEvent Processor to help power an events operations dashboard so that they can monitor everything that's going on with that event. So Harry, can you walk us through how this works?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that. So I want to point out a couple of things first. What you're looking at on the board right now is a web map, just like a web map you've seen before. And it's being housed inside the operations dashboard. For this example, let's focus on what happens inside of that web map first. So here's an event that happens in Florida. It's called the tropical heat wave. They close down many different streets, and they have a lot of bands and festivals and activities that are going on. The first thing we can see with this purple line is that this is the perimeter of the whole event. It's static. It's not going to change. We can also see a very important thing, which are the restrooms. Again, they're static, and they don't change. And this is how a lot of people view events, is by putting the static information on a map. But with the GeoEvent Processor, which is an extension to ArcGIS for Server, we can gain insight into this event using real-time data. Let's look at social media, for example. So I'm going to use Hootsuite to post a tweet. I'm going to use the hashtag heatwave and say, it is hot out here. Man looks sick. And I'll go ahead and send that tweet. So that's actually being posted to Twitter. In my operations dashboard, you'll see what happened. That tweet appeared directly on my map. So how does this happen? Well, it happens with the GeoEvent Processor. So what you're looking at right now is the GeoEvent Processor Manager. I've already logged in, and for those of you who manage ArcGIS for servers, you'll notice this has the same look and feel as the ArcGIS for Server Manager. Well, I've set up some criteria here. The first thing I've done is said, let's look at Twitter. And let's look at all the tweets being made and filter out the ones that have a hashtag heatwave and only show me those. The next thing I want to do is filter those for geolocation, because if they don't have an XY on there, I can't place those tweets on a map. And the final process is saying update a feature service with this new information. And that's the workflow to get those tweets posted to my map. So the next thing that happens at one of these types of events is people want to know where the public safety units are, especially the first responders or the 911 dispatcher. So what I have here are two simulators. Now, the Florida Police Department did not want us to use their real GPS locations, and they wouldn't be in this area. So we're going to use these simulators to just simulate cars driving. So I'll go ahead and play that. We also have a simulator that's simulating service requests being called in. So what you're seeing here is the first event being called in. It's a service request by Estella Cruz, and it's saying that there's excessive loud noise. Well, it's a music festival, so we'll go ahead and ignore that one right now. The next one you can see, it's actually a red exclamation point, and this was submitted by Joe Barta. And as you can see, it's a description of heat exhaustion, and this was a 911 call. So those are appearing on our map, and what's happening is on the left-hand side, we can see each one of the patrol cars. You can see patrol car number 312 is actually responding to the incident that happened here of heat exhaustion. You'll also see that the ambulance is just sitting idle right now until it receives a call to go pick up this person. During this whole process, down here in our alerts window, we're being notified of what's going on. Here we can see that R4, which is the ambulance, it's been in the tropical heat wave area for 32 seconds. And that's because it's been parked within this purple boundary area. We can also see when each one of these police cars enters into that particular area as well. But this isn't just a static map. We can actually interact with the cars as they're moving around. Here is a street cleaning zone that has already been established. Well, if this zone happens to move or needs to be updated, I can simply come in here and draw a new zone. And as soon as that ambulance crosses into it, I'll be receiving updates that it has now entered into a hazardous area. So I can interact directly with the information on this map to receive updates. So let's take a look at exactly how this is working again. So here I am in my GeoEvent Processor manager. And one of the services that we have established is this geofence monitoring. So here's what's going on. We're going to take the information given to us by those GPS signals and begin to put those on a map. We then want to filter them, though, to only look at the police vehicles that are in our area. And depending upon what they do, different things will happen. So when one of these vehicles enters into the tropical heat wave, we're going to get a warning in our alerts window that says this person's in the tropical heat wave area. If one of them crosses into this dangerous monitoring area, well, we're going to get an alert, but we're also going to send an email. And here, this email will be sent to my personal email account, and it'll let me know that the vehicle is en route. So it's not about just viewing data on a map anymore. We can view static data, live data, but also push information out in real time to begin to have a better understanding of what's going on in an event like this. So we took data from multiple sources, used the GeoEvent Processor to create some of these workflows and automate many of these processes for these updates, Tim.
Thanks, Harry. That was really interesting. So new skills that you can sharpen as a curator of content are connecting to these new types of information like real-time data, as we just saw, and providing useful ways to view that information. Now we're going to take a closer look at the dashboard in just a few minutes.